I had pierogies for dinner. That's how this video opening starts. Is me announcing I had pierogies. They were pretty tasty.
Nice. I had summer sausage and sliced cheddar cheese.
Oh damn, that sounds good too, though.
It
like
is
real talk.
delicious.
Summer sausage is always good.
Dude, summer sausage is my fucking jam.
I had some Pringles as it isn't dinner time yet.
It was my lunchtime.
5:30. That's fair.
Yeah.
I usually eat between 6:30 and 7.
Yeah.
5:30 is my lunch, and like usually around midnight is dinner. I don't know. I have a bad sleep schedule.
I had no water for most of the day, so as soon as it was running again, I was like, shower.
Yeah. Also, it sounds like Back at Lost is getting near its foregone conclusion of ending, just because it's like the show thing where like most of the cast has left and there's only like one remaining person, and they're like, boy, I almost have all of the money I need. I should probably retire soon. And all these other people aren't the original crew anymore. Maybe I'll pass it off to one of them. But I'm trying really, really hard to get them to do Zweihander because that game looks so fun. I'm very subtly going, it's like, wow, all these games sound fun. But you know what would be the most fun? Zweihander. Let's do Zweihander. And I like it because the whole character creation is random. Random tables all the time. It really flexes that creative brains.
I mean, from my perspective, it chooses for you.
Evil. Oh, sorry. Yes, chooses for you. I mean, but that's kind of how fate is, though.
Yeah, but that's like the opposite of creative.
I mean, it's not. It's improv. Because
it's a different form of creativity.
Yeah, it's improvisation because now you're given your prompts of a character you need to play, and you go, okay, here's my motivation. You know, it's like acting because you didn't make that character. They handed you, you know, a thing with these descriptors of what your character is like, and they're like, okay, here you go, bring him to life.
Improv is kind of like one of the core and most principal exercises to becoming a good creative actor.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all our improv games.
Yeah, and
what was that one we played with the cards?
For the Queen?
The Queen. Yeah, for the Queen. That
yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that's always great. And that's why
My favorite game like that would be The Quiet Year. It's so good.
That just sounds spooky.
What's The Quiet Year, and why am I suddenly worried? Because that's what I want to name one of our games.
All right, that does. Yeah, it's just like, ooh, The Quiet Year. Maybe I'll name my next campaign that. That sounds terrifying. What does it mean?
Year is a game set in a post-apocalypse setting where you control you and like up to 4 players. It's a DM-less game, like for the Queen.
Oh, cool.
But basically, you have a year of drawing cards. The cards equal each season, each suit.
I'm gonna look this up real quick.
I actually have it bought if you ever want to play it. On Roll20.
I do.
That's a long game if you play over the course of a year.
The cards represent the year.
Oh, well, that's significantly shorter.
Yes.
It's not an actual
year.
It's a board.
No, you have to play the game for a whole year.
That's pretty hardcore.
But basically, you control a town, not specific people, and you kind of guide what this town does in reaction to certain events.
Oh, well, that's very different from what I have planned with Shay for our Quiet Year game, because it's just things from the Flood. It is, yeah. Like, it is just the year that her character is basically by herself, continuing after Tales from the Loop.
Right.
That's cool.
Real talk. Nothing. No board game or tabletop game is quite as scary as a horror game that doesn't have like a dungeon master or somebody leading the narrative behind. So you just have like the terrifying suspense build up, and then weird shit happens, but it's completely random. Kind of like House on Haunted Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, that's some good shit.
Yeah, and Haunted Hill is always good because it's like it can be real spooky or it can be real goofy. Because
Yeah.
I remember one game we played of that where it was the alien infection, and I was playing the doctor, and I had dynamite, and the rules were anytime you go an infected person enters a room with somebody who's not infected, there's a chance of spreading it, and basically all the infected people blocked the one hallway into the room where you synthesize the cure. So my person, being the last person not infected, is like, well, I have to go through here, and I'm gonna get infected, and basically we're gonna lose, but I can get us the cure made, probably, or I can just end the game now. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, I have dynamite. And they're like, oh no. It's like, yeah. It's like I go into the room and I throw the dynamite. They're like, you son of a... It's like, yeah, I take everybody with me.
Yeah, I mean, canonical horror movie ending.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets blown up.
Everybody gets blown up. You contained the contagion, but everybody died. And
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes a non-win is just as good as a win.
it's a W with an asterisk, but it's still a W.
Precisely.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
How's everyone doing, by the way?
I'm
My existence
waiting.
is acceptable.
Yeah, likewise. I'm waiting for my Red Bull to kick in.
I will have more information for you tomorrow.
He's gotta go get his blood washed.
You don't have to leave early today, do you? That's all.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I know I'm going for blood work in the morning, but I don't know. It's not at my my normal hospital, so it's not like a 2-hour commute to get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just a local lab, so I don't think I need to wake up early or anything.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm okay. Just Mondays are not hard days. I just don't know why I'm always so drained. And it's like it's a Thursday for me. So I'm not like at the end of my energy because I still have to get through tomorrow. But today was not a bad day. Like, it was a holiday, y'all. I got double pay, and I had to work down pre-check, which is always the easy spot. And I don't know why I'm so tired, but I just laid down, and I slept all the way through it. And it was time to get up, and it was like,
I mean, it's probably the rest of your days catching up to you.
Yeah, that happens.
You could try
What is
yoga.
your issue, dog? What is your issue?
What were you saying, Shay?
You could try yoga.
I thought about that after I sent it to you. I was like, I probably should try doing morning stretches and stuff to start getting back into shape.
Well, I mean, I wanted to like get back into exercising too. So that kind of worked out because it wasn't a lot of stress on my abs, which have been sore for the past couple days.
Mm-hmm. And I do light stretching at work because of how much standing and moving around we do, but nothing yoga intensive. Well, yeah, morning workouts with Rin, but yeah, one of the things I want to do once we get settled is, either have a apartment with a built-in gym or get back to the gym, because before moving out here, I used to not be so big. I put on a lot of weight over the years of sitting here not doing anything productive. And I'd like to change that because I'm not happy with the way I look or feel.
I just want my abs to be chiseled again.
Chiseled abs. I support this idea.
Mm.
On a different note, my free Xbox Game Pass is going to be coming up at the end of next month. So I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, and boy howdy, is that game not as bad as it was when it first launched, but it is still just Peasant Simulator, and I still kind of hate it. but I can't put it down at the same time because I really want
I
to get
kind of like it
I
because it is Peasant Simulator.
I like it enough that I haven't uninstalled it yet, but there are things about it that I don't like. And basically, it got to the point... You know when you get to that point in certain games where you're like, I want to see where the story goes, but I hate the mechanics, let's put on cheat codes and just power game through it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with this game, because when I started it, you basically have a super long tutorial, and they give you this nice sword, and you end up having to find some armor to sneak out of this village that is looking after you after your village gets sacked. But like, nice armor, nice sword. You go back to your village on the quest to go bury your parents because they got, killed in this attack. And it's like, okay, you're sneaking your way through this village with a bunch of looters and bandits, picking over the dead bodies, and you can take all of them easy because you have a good sword and they have like sticks and no real armor and stuff. And it's like, all right, I feel good about this. Combat's not bad. And then you get to the part where you're actually like starting to move your parents to go put them in the graves you dug for them. And then, the bandit leader shows up and he's got this big truncheon, Tetsubo type, war club. And he's like, hey, that's a nice sword. I'm going to bash your head in and take it because, I'm bigger than you are. And it's like, I think I can take this guy. And it's a scripted fight, is my complaint.
Yeah, you can't win.
Yeah, you no matter how good you are at the mechanics and you're beating the piss out of him, he just one-shots you if you misstep at all. And it's like, hey, thanks. I'm going to take this good sword. I'm going to take all this armor and just beat the piss out of you. I got through 4 of his swings, so I'm good with the sword. So I got like maybe 2 or 3 swings in each time he tried to get a swing through. But I managed to dodge 2 or 3 of them, and then the 4th, he broke my block. Yeah, he's all, I'm taking your sword. Oh, he hit you 3 times? I got hit once and I was floored.
I was pretty good at the combat in that game. So I was in an hour just grinding the levels.
Oh.
So I was overpowered when the game actually started.
It is very much just a luck-based directional button mash. I've gotten better at and one of the things I don't like about it is basically the tutorial area doesn't give you mini tutorial on how to do the basic game, but once you're in the basic game going through the first major town is when they start teaching you certain things, and it's like, why didn't I know this beforehand? But it's supposed to reflect you being this, dirt peasant who doesn't know shit. And, part of the game...
Fair, you feel like that.
Yeah, so they want you to feel like that, but... Yeah, I ended up just being like, you know what, screw this. And so, like, I put on the money cheat and I went and bought, nice gear and stuff and started messing with it. But the problem is, you still are, a dirt peasant. So even if you put on nice gear, you still can't use things because, like, your strength is shit, or you don't know how to use a warhammer. And so, I would continuously run into more problems where it's like, oh, let's go do this tournament. What do you want to fight with? And it's like, well, these are actual trained soldiers, so they have armor that they, know how to turn your blows on, so you can be beating on them for, I think, the final round of the tournament, even with infinite health on. I was button mashing, beating the piss out of one guy for nearly an hour because his resistances and his ability to block was just so much better. And it's like, why is this game so much harder? Like, do people find this fun? Like, it wasn't Dark Souls fun. And another gripe, archery. Archery in this game sucks because there's... You know how most things give you, like, even just a little dot reticle for aiming? No,
yeah.
Not in this game. And your archery tutorial is against a noble who basically puts all of your money on the line versus his nice bow. And he's like, all right, peasant, if you can hit the target, I'll give you my bow. If not, I take all your money. And it's like, well, it's scripted, so I have to agree. And it's like, it's very far downrange. It does not give you a guide on how to aim, and stamina plays into drawing back the bowstring. So once you think that you've got it down, you start getting shaky arms, so you can never aim properly. Yeah, mind you, after you lose, he goes, "Okay, double or nothing. I'll fight you in the training ring," and you have a chance of actually beating him in a sword fight. And if you beat him in the sword fight, he'll basically go, oh, looks like we're 1 for 1, so you can keep your money and I'll keep my bow, but you're still a peasant. Fuck off. And it's just like, okay, thanks.
Anywho.
It's a fun peasant simulator, and I'm waiting for it to get better.
So sorry for vanishing suddenly. My dog decided that he just really had to go out right then.
It was fine. I was rambling about peasant simulator. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Say, it's a weird kind of fun asked. It was one of those where it's like, I'm invested enough to see where it goes, to see if it gets better. Because the game was unplayable when it launched. Like, I couldn't get through the first town because the combat was so buggy and unresponsive, and the like, your choices matter didn't matter. You were not skilled enough to get through anything, and you would just constantly fail, and you felt like shit the whole game, and it's like, this isn't fun. But anywho, we have a game to play. It's Forest for the Trees. It's been a while, but our recap largely goes like this. You all were invited to a dinner party, and what I mean by you all, I mean Lee was invited to a dinner party, and the three of you as her security retinue naturally took on your roles as blue cloaks to stay by her side, most of you, and keep an eye on her during the party. You arrived at the estate just on the inner wall of the eastern side of Ralia to find Ziadon Greengas Elven Estate. It looks like he had permission to build a more Sainafate resembling residence behind a wall where no one can see it, and deep into a secluded garden area. But a house nonetheless, built from an exotic elven tree that had been brought over and shaped into a nice, well-meaning manor that was, of course, bigger on the inside. Once inside, you were greeted to the sight of only half-elven servants working the grounds, and your weapons were asked to be handed over, aside from small arms for the obvious needs of protection. As you were blue cloaks, Lee was asked to hand over all of her weapons as a guest, where she proceeded to meet a number of individuals, including a clan member of the Foambeards, Angus McFarraway, a artificer who worked largely on munitions and artillery for the war that is currently in armistice. You also met Alabaster Bradshaw, a tailor, did I say?
My notes say he's a human who works in textile.
Yes, textiles. So not really a tailor, but makes the fabrics and stuff. So he works in the textile industries, and that's how they made their fortune. Another woman named Lucinda Delacourt of the Arcane Assortium, another magical faction within the city. And, of course, the most outlandish and oddly placed member of the dinner party, Asmodeus Mallard, a duck familiar. The man was loud, boisterous, well-dressed, and apparently is well-connected within the the moving picture industry. He says talkies are the next big thing. These films where people actually say their lines instead of you having to read cue cards when they pop up. I don't think it's going to take, but he seems confident. Charles and Oz had fallen into a sentry position to watch the area, keep an eye on things, while Cypher took a more hands-on / hands-off approach of staying by Lee's side the entire time and documenting all of her actions once she had struck up a conversation with a Cenefate knight by the name of Thifreya. Thifreya introduced herself as an inquisitor and a knight of the green, an order from the Cenefate Empire, and she was here as an honored guest. Shortly after, Zeodon Greengast made his introductions. You all headed into the dining room where the party continued for a few hours of idle chatter, enjoying a fine vegan-friendly meal, because Zeodon Greengast is, of course, a druid who would never partake in the flesh of his dearest friends. Actually, all the meat was made from half-elves, so it's ethically sound. No, I'm kidding. While the dinner course went on, you all were introduced to his wife, who appeared to be a young and beautiful half-elf, whereas Zeodon was an older-looking elven man. Right, sorry. I did clarify that. Greengast was a they/them pronouns. Excuse me. Good catch. Yeah, no, good catch, because I think we started with a he/them, and then I was like, no, I feel this would be more appropriate as a they/them, and so we had changed it early on. So it's been 2 weeks. I apologize for that.
It's
You're fine.
No, I'm glad you clarified, because we got to keep it consistent. Whereas Greengast, they/them, appear to be a much more older elven individual, looking well on in their years, and older for elven sake, not necessarily older for human sake, because 200 years for a human, you're dust.
They go from teenager to 30 to looking like they're about to turn to dust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This Greengast looks like they're about 60 in human years. They look like a 60-year-old elf. So there are defined wrinkles. They haven't quite lost that elven luster to them, but you can tell that they're much older, because they've got the tired eyes and crow's feet, and they seem to be lacking the youthful energy, but they still possess that unearthly beauty that is common for elves. As dinner progressed, you all were introduced to his wife, strangely enough, who was a half-elven female, beautiful, young, very strange, considering that all of the servants he keeps were also half-elves. And while they started to make a dinner speech, they suddenly had what appeared to be a moment of surprise before collapsing face first into their plate. And that's where we pick up.
And that's where Oswick is immediately going to run over to his side and perform a medicine check.
And I jump up and I'm just like, oh no.
Everyone stay in your seats.
I'm gonna move.
Cypher.
Yeah,
Can you
I'm
contact
I'm gonna move over to the doorway and block it.
Yeah, and sure enough, as soon as the head hits the table, there is the gas and the panic, and everybody looks a bit shocked, and there are people who start to rise up, and then Charles is like, "Stay in your seats," and Angus is the first one on his feet, and he's like, "Are you to tell me what to do, dog?" And then he realizes you're a blue cloak, and he's like, "Shutting up," and he sits back down.
Right, going back down then.
Yeah. There's probably a low growl from Charles. He's sitting down. But yeah,
Oh shit! Back in my seat.
yeah. But the Cypher and Charles quickly actually give me a persuasion or intimidation from both of you. Let's see how we wrangle the group up.
Oh, okay. Can I just assist him?
Yeah,
instead,
absolutely.
as we're working as a unit.
22.
Mhm. Yep.
Cool.
So sure enough, Charles does growl, and like anybody who would have been kind of like, "Oh no, there's a dead body here. I don't want to sit down." They promptly sit and are reined back in line, giving Oswick time to head over. The wife, of course, had that moment to let out a scream, and she stays beside him and beside them. God damn it, stays beside them, and is like trying to like shake them back awake, but they are just covered in salad greens and feta, and she's like, "No, you have to get up, Zeodon, wake up!" And Oswick, as you come over, tell me what you're doing to check this person.
First, I'm going to lift this this elf's face out of his bowl or plate, salad, whatever.
Late.
I will quickly lie them back across the floor and do all of like the standard checks. Check for a pulse, lean my head down, see if there's any sort of breathing going on, or press my head against the chest for a heartbeat.
Okay. So you were told to sit, young lady.
Yeah,
Char-
hang on. Let me see if I can beat a 20.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Try and beat a 22. Well, Lee is not corralled, so she would be free to act if she so chooses.
Technically, she's the defender, and the attacker match.
No, he sets the target number with his check.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Fair enough.
If you're treating it like a spell save DC, then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I
because actually Charles would be the defender. He sets the DC for anyone to resist.
Gotcha.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, so
All right,
I'll run over and I immediately try casting Cure Wounds.
So Lee immediately scoots her chair back. A couple of people are watching on as she runs over. She comes in, and as you're making your check, she touches your crime scene, channels divine magic into him. Roll your heal for me. All right. You channel 6 positive energy into their body. But there is no sign of life that comes back after you heal them. Oswick, you were in the
Lady
middle.
Lee.
You were in the. Hold on, I gotta give him his medicine check. Oswick, you were in the middle of checking over the body before she pumped this healing magic into him. And there's a very good chance if there was any injuries, they might have closed up. But the poor person is still dead. I'm gonna just say Myrrh. We're just gonna make this full Elder Scroll instead of saying man. They're Myrrh. I wonder what the pronouns for Myrrh would be. Anyways, the poor elf is long since expired. But you look them over, and there are a couple of things for me to whisper to you as you look them over.
While this is happening, Cypher is completely ignoring the scene with the man itself and just taking a quick sweep of the room, getting a read on facial expressions, look of shock, anything like that. Anybody who looks out of place or less tense and not surprised.
Actually, I'll just say it out loud because it's not really pertinent if I whisper it. Because you're just going to tell him anyways. Oswick, you don't see any signs of immediate injury on the individual. There's no, mysterious smoking gunshot wound or
Not anymore, there's not.
No, not anymore. There's not. There's no obvious sign of injury right now. They are not breathing. I'm just trying to check all the boxes of what you said you were checking on them. There are a number of older looking injuries that don't pertain to this immediate moment. So I imagine you would probably gloss over those. But there's no immediate indication of physical harm. And whether or not that is due to Lee jumping in to heal them is unclear.
Lady Azalee, return to your seat. This is a crime scene.
You have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature.
Yeah, ignore that. That was an accident.
Oh, okay.
But I am trying to get a read of the room.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd rather a insight or perception for that.
Give me an insight. We can look a little deeper on these people. Hey!
23. Nat 20. My eyes are...
So there are a number of servants that were in the room. They were in the process of bringing out dessert. They've kind of huddled into like one side of the room away from the body. They look like a mixture of shocked and relieved at their employer being dead. Mallard looks... He probably had the weirdest reaction where it was like, oh, I didn't know we were getting a dinner and a show type of thing, where it's like that, like, it is not appropriate to be cracking a joke at somebody falling over dead. Angus looked angry at first at being corralled back down because they didn't want to be near a body, and then they were promptly cowed back into their seat. Alabaster looks shocked at the sight of somebody dying. Lucinda had let out a surprised scream. You notice that Thefreya does not look shocked nor pleased by it. Like, it is largely just an indifferent sort of expression. And it seems more like she's also gauging the room. More than anything, like, it seems like she's also in Sherlock big brain mode.
Gotcha.
And the wife had been pulled back to her seat and seems to be like on the verge of tears.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So nobody, nothing else, kind of like stuck out as weird.
Nothing weird beside Mallard's inappropriateness.
Okay. Great. Then I'm just gonna keep my place at the door and just turn my attention to Oswick real quick and just say, Officer Oswick, please inform the facility.
Right. Oh, goodness. Oswick is going to sternly look at Lee. Please don't touch anything again. And he's going to stand up, pull out the wand of sending, and place it towards his throat as he casts and lets dispatch know there is a situation.
He's got a wand of fireballs. He's gonna end it all. Don't do it.
He just points it at his head.
Yeah, he points it right up to his throat and just boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm after realizing he's dead, I probably go much paler, look super nervous, partly because of my own well-being and knowing where I am, and I just like back away.
Lee, make a perception check real fast.
23?
You notice that there is, while Oswick gets up to call dispatch, you notice that there is a letter tucked into Zeodon's breast pocket that seemed a little out of place now after you had placed your hands to try and heal them. It looks like it had a seal that had been broken.
Do I want to take it?
Nobody's watching you.
I am.
Literally watching you.
Nobody's watching you. Do it.
Don't go down
There's
this road.
literally 2 police officers
just
watching
use your
you.
words.
Try and
Just use your
Try
words.
and sneak it, Lee. Try and sneak it.
I feel like I have 3 people standing on one shoulder and 1 person standing on the other shoulder,
Just use your words.
and they're both aiming gun. And both sides are aiming guns at
Both the
me.
angel and the demon have guns pointed at you.
He said, "Letter," and I just run back to my seat.
What was that?
He has whimper letter.
He has whimper letter.
Understood. Officer Charles.
Charles will start to approach the body and start going through the pockets on the outfit. Just a cursory search.
Alrighty, give me an investigation.
Oh boy. 19!
19.
Woo!
Yeah, your cursory investigation isn't hard to find. There is a piece of parchment tucked into the shoulder, or not the shoulder, the breast pocket of the individual.
Do I find anything else? Because he's going through every pocket and is going to submit them as evidence.
Just take his money.
Yeah. Well, you're going through all the pockets, so yeah, there is a coin pouch. It's or a money billfolds, because we don't use gold. Gold is merely the or the
It's
bills.
the gold standard.
Yeah, it's the gold standard. So yes, your bills of mark represent gold, silver, and most importantly electrum. But
No.
yeah,
That's just Tinder.
no, it's not. It's the most important. You do see that there is a billfold. Probably you don't check inside of it as a respectable officer of the law, but if you had,
Of course.
there would have been marks for a number of platinum, as well as gold. The letter itself with a broken seal. Looking over the seal itself on the outside, it just has a dark black waxy seal, and it looks like whatever stamped it also makes it leaves like a silver imprint, and the imprint of it is a skull set between a pair of scythes.
It just says, "Welcome to the family."
Yeah, and then he gets punched in the face and goes unconscious.
Sorry, that was a silver skull with 2 scythes.
Yep, set between a pair of scythe blades. So, like, the scythes themselves, like, crisscross up at the top, and the skull is set inside. Anyways, there's the letter. There are... I'm trying to think of what cool things a modern or an urban druid would have on them. There's probably a couple knickknacks, like a few...
Token of tree growth.
Yeah, a token, a quail's feather token. No. There's a locket that has a picture of a woman that is decidedly not Zeodon's wife, as well as probably just like a wand or two. Inconsequential pocket change and, riflings. They're older, so they probably have like some hard candy in there too. Yeah, so you start setting this stuff out as evidence.
Yep.
I just start muttering in Sylvan. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. What if they lock me up?
Tampered with police evidence.
Officer Oswald,
Yes, Cypher?
have you been given ETA?
Given what?
An ETA.
Oh, okay. Dispatch tells you that they will be there within an hour. It's going to take some time to arrive.
Within an hour, keep the perimeter secure until then.
Gonna nod. There, you mentioned there were like security. There was security at this party, right?
Yes. While there are servants, there were a handful of other half-elves that acted as the security. They largely hung back just like you guys did. When Oz and Charles were standing on one wall, they would have had like the opposite wall keeping an eye. They probably like nodded at you and you nodded back and that sort of thing, where it's like, yeah, we recognize what you're doing. We're also doing that.
Cool. Okay. Officer Oswick, if you would trade places with me momentarily.
Very well then.
Going to swap and move and approach the waifu of the house.
Mm-hmm. We finally get to name El Waifu.
But I will just approach, keep like a good 2 feet of distance, and then lower myself down, get on eye level, and lower the volume of my voice, and just say, Miss Greengas, I beg your pardon, but would there be a more comfortable place for us to move the remaining individuals of the party? That way may not contaminate this scene. And I will cast Friends.
Now you cast Friends.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So go ahead and roll a persuasion for me then. Try and not to convince her, but more to keep her cool. Help her keep cool.
Fucking
Jesus.
She looks incredibly frightened of you as a
yeah,
familiar.
that's fair.
She's shaking, she's crying, and she's just like, they come to the. I don't.
Cypher, could you come over here
Agreed.
and help with the body?
Yeah,
Cypher, switch places.
Tell me, Elf.
Swap
Tell me, Elf. Tell me, where can we take them? Shake.
Where are the drugs going?
I'll try to I'll kind of like nervously kind of stand up and slink over to her.
Lady Lee, I'm gonna have to ask you to sit down.
Okay. I sit down.
Alright. I'm gonna just look to who looks like the most authoritative security person on the other side of this wall.
There is, in fact. Let's see here. That GM roll it? No, I didn't. All right. Yeah. Okay. You look over and you see that there it is. A number of the security staff have that kind of demure about them that gives off the more elven nature. Very thin, willowy. It's hard to gauge which one might be like the most authoritative because they all look a little bit off-put as well at seeing their boss get killed in the dining room, and they're like, shit, we're out of jobs now because they died on our watch. But as you scan over the first three, you pass over, and then you see the fourth one, and the fourth one is just an absolute unit of a person. They stand a good foot taller. They're slightly more muscular build, and it would be like the equivalent of Jorgen von Strangle as a half elf.
Gotcha.
So it's like thin half elf, thin half elf, thin half elf, Jorgen von Strangle, and it's like
Thick.
yeah, it's like
Got
that one's probably in charge.
Okay. Cool. Then I will approach that one then.
How does he talk?
First of all, did you just assume their gender? No, I'm kidding.
How do they talk?
There you go. She talks like these. No.
No, I'm all for
Joke's
it. I
on
love
you.
it.
It's the smallest half elf on security.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's how it works.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. But no, approaching them, they also, like, this is going to just be the common reaction. They look
Oh yeah, that's
very,
fine. That's fine.
very off-put that the Warforged is approaching them.
Yeah.
Being half-elves, they know that you're not going to rip and tear, but it's still just kind of like,
Yeah, that's fair. Not phased.
Yeah. What can I do for you, Warforged?
My name is Detective Cipher.
Detective
I'm going to
Cipher.
be exercising authority over this scene until backup can arrive in approximately 1 hour. Who among you is in charge of security here?
That'd be me.
I offer my hand.
They clasp wrists, give it a quick shake. Silver Star.
Thank you very much for your cooperation moving forward. We need a place. Yes?
They were just going to say, it's like, oh, we really don't have any authority to oppose you, so of course, we'll happily help.
I would like to move the remaining members of the party into a more secure location away from the crime scene.
Of course. There's a... I keep wanting to say pantry, but I know that's wrong. My brain is like, come on, wake up. The parlor. We can let's head into the parlor. Move desserts there if it'll help settle everybody in. He's like, is it all right if we start moving them now then?
Yes, I will assign an officer. Charles, and I look back to Charles.
Detective.
Please assist in the escorting of the remaining individuals into the parlor.
Of course.
I'll then look back to the security. I'm afraid dessert will be cancelled. We cannot rule out any sort of foul play just yet.
That's fair, I suppose. And the lady worked hard on dessert, but we can forego it for now. And he's like, all right, everyone, follow the officer's orders and let's get moving. And there's the obvious civilian grumble and mumble and whispering to themselves as they're all corralled out of the room.
Cool. Okay. Once everybody leaves, we make sure Lee goes too. Just
Of
as
course.
a side note.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Lee, as you're being ushered out by Charles and the security force, Threya saddles up beside you and switches into Sylvan. My, this is a turn of events, isn't it?
It might provoke this interference.
If we have reason of suspecting foul play, I will be keeping a close eye on things. For now.
So it's really bad news for me.
Could you imagine we could have missed all of this if your friend hadn't insisted you stayed?
If this turns out really bad, I probably won't be allowed to leave their castle grounds.
She narrowed her eyes a moment. You just say the word, and I'll make sure that you get back home.
There's like a little bit of hesitation, but very slight no. Maybe I maybe I could go check on Miss Shiedosa.
As the group is leaving, Oswick will try and wave down Charles for just a
Officer?
keep a very close eye on Miss Asley while you're in there. We have a murderer on the loose, and her safety is more important now than before.
While everyone's
agree, I'll
backs
keep an
turned,
eye on
Lee
her.
gets stabbed. No. Seriously, though. Yeah, continue.
Repeat, Ark. Rin was talking over you.
I agree, I'll keep a close eye on her.
Very good.
He'll nod and continue ushering the group.
Mm-hmm. And so you all continue down into this parlor. The parlor is very much more of a indoor garden than like a wealthy to-dos smoking parlor. There's none of that Art Deco or lavish looking couches. There are a couple of the like reclining chairs that would be really prevalent in Santa Fe architecture and furniture, and a number of like pillows and places to sit on the ground, but it's very green, and it seems like there's a artificial tiny sun that hangs above it, that keeps the area well illuminated. But there's a number of seats and places for people to sit, and the party goers all kind of filter in and sit in like a little circle around each other, still talking amongst themselves, grumbling, being very not happy about having this party interrupted and the audacity of somebody dying while they were supposed to be having a good time sort of deal. It's not like they're like, oh, how dare this person be dead, but it's just that like, how long is this going to take? Why can't we leave? We didn't kill him. He fell over and died. Blah, blah, blah. You know, there's just the mumbling that's loud enough for Charles to hear it. And then there's the occasional whispered conversations between themselves that seem very mixed between scared and agitated at being held up and being told that they have to wait for an hour with nothing to do.
I'll approach Shayado.
Remind me, which one is Shayadosha?
Zidon's wife.
Oh, did we give her a name?
Yep.
Yeah.
When?
Don't know, but it's in my notes.
Yeah, it's written right here.
Yeah, nobody corrected me when I said we were going to give her a name today.
I think I missed it. My bad.
That's all right. What the hell was her name?
Is Shaedosa? Sheiadosa is what I got, but it's probably spelled wrong because it's an elf name.
Yeah, no, it's
I mean,
fine.
that's what I got too.
Sheiadosha. Yeah, so you approach Sheiadosha with the Freya close on your heels, and she kind of is in the middle of still weeping. She's got one of those like handkerchiefs that's wiping her eyes. But when the discussion of entering the parlor comes up, she actually kind of hangs in the hallway and looks to Charles and says, "If it's all right with you, can I stay out here?"
I'm sorry, we need to keep an eye on everyone, and we're only few men here.
I understand. You can watch them from the doorway, and I'll stay right here in the hall. I don't want to be uncooperative.
Ow!
What was that?
That was the sound of somebody being shot in the parlor room. No, it's the kitchen. People are noisy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, she seems very uninterested in going into the parlor room. And basically she's saying, like, I'll wait right here in the hall, and you can watch them from the doorway.
Do I overhear that?
Yeah, the two of you would be walking up to where Charles is, but she hasn't stepped inside yet.
May I insight check that?
Yes.
Like, what is her reason?
Decision time, Charlie. Yeah, there's a little like quick timer, and then your dialogue options pop up, and it's slowly whittling down.
What are my dialogue options?
There is the good karma response, the bad karma response, the chaos response, and then there's just shoot her.
Don't forget sarcasm. There's always sarcasm.
Well, that's the chaos response. The chaos response is always just the like unhelpful sarcasm response. And then shoot.
I can see what the unhelpful sarcasm response is in this situation too. Just out of character, it'd be something like, "Yeah, because he's gonna walk through that door any moment." But Charles is not saying that.
Yeah. Lee, when you insight her, it looks like she is more afraid to enter the room than anything.
I'm currently afraid of Charles right now, I think.
You were intimidated by Charles enough to stay put when he told you to. He spoke with authority, not fear.
I can stay in the hall with her, maybe.
Freya smiles and is at Charles's side, and she says, "If it helps, there is only the one entrance. If anybody tries to leave, they have to get past you. I don't see what the harm is in having her sit down against the wall. If she tries to get up, you can stop her."
I apologize. This is a blue cloak matter. We need everyone in the parlor.
She, Sheadosha crosses her arms and looks a little more sternly, and she says, "May I have a word with you in private, Officer Charles?"
Just to be clear, we're in between the hallway.
You're
the
in
parlor.
You're in the hallway. You're standing in the doorway, trying to get her in. Everybody else has gone in. She's refused to enter the parlor.
Charles will look at the other two elves. If you two will re-enter the parlor.
The Freya gestures from the parlor side of the doorway, and she says, "We're not going anywhere, I promise."
Don't worry, Mrs. Greengast. I'll I'll stay with you if you want.
Well, that all depends on Officer Bluecloak here.
If you want a second stage, we can swap over to me and Oz.
I was trying to see what he says before we jump over.
That's fair. Just trying to help my boy.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get Lee and the other elf away so he can talk to the lady in private like
Yeah.
she wants without moving.
Yeah, that was my point.
Ah,
Freya and Lee leave so that we can talk in the hall. Then he can make a decision.
Because she wants private
Wait.
time, but he needs to keep an eye on people.
if Shadosa does come inside, I'll stick nearby at her side.
She does not go inside.
Okay.
Like, the whole point of this conversation is she doesn't want to go inside.
It's not Shaedosha, it's you and Thafira that need to go in.
The Freya.
We're already
They're
in.
inside.
Yeah, they just need to like take 5 steps back. Charlie,
Yeah.
tell them to take 5 steps back.
Charles is trying to get you guys to back up so he can close the door or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She asked for privacy. You're not giving her privacy.
I thought the Freya asked for privacy.
No. Shaedosha asked
Oh.
for privacy.
Okay.
This is what
Alright, yeah.
happens when weird elfin names.
It's
Right
true.
back up then.
So, Lee backs up, giving you the space, Charles.
What would you like to discuss, Lady Greengrass?
Close the door, please.
I need to keep an eye on the parlor.
They won't go anywhere, and it won't be long, I promise.
I'd like to insight check this.
Mm-hmm. She looks like she really wants to have a private conversation with you.
There are other guards in the room with us, right?
There is hired security.
Yeah, but that's also arguable about what their true intentions were.
You have no idea.
Yep. Close the door.
And so, when you close the door, she says, "Thank you for understanding. It's a very important matter." And then the camera cuts back to the dining room.
Charles is dead, guys.
Charles is dead. That poor baby. They will find her a month later.
Charles in charge of his grave.
And our lives. Yeah.
So after everybody exits, I will. Cypher would have made sure that one security person stayed behind.
Mm-hmm. Did you pick one in
once-
particular?
Uh,
Thin squad or big chunk?
Thin squat. I'll leave big chunk to do big chunk things.
All right. They bonk Charles over the head and break everybody up. No, I'm kidding.
That's fine.
Yeah. So one
yeah,
of them stays to help.
once they leave, first I'll look to the security officer and say, I will require your full cooperation moving forward. May I have your name?
Yes, you can call me. Maybe. I'll just use this name that I was going to use. Aluzira is what she says. Aluzira. It's spelled as phonetically as it sounds.
Okay.
Without having to get creative. And I'm going to type it out anyways because I know people are going to get it wrong.
Yeah, problem.
It's elf name, so yeah.
Aluzira.
I was close. I put an E instead of an I. I was close though. All right.
Aluzira.
Give a polite nod and say, in the meantime, before reinforcements can arrive to help secure the scene, no one is to be allowed in this room aside from yourself or a member of the Blue Groups. Is that clear?
Understood. Do you want me to watch the doorway?
No, actually, I would like to inquire as to where I might find some key information to meet.
Sure, I can help as best I can.
He pulls out his notepad. We will require the guest list of tonight, the guest list of the past week, a list of incoming food and other sustenance specifically for this party, a list of staff and shifts over the last month, and the recent financial dealings on the surface level. No privacy incurred upon for Lord Greengast.
Absolutely. I can arrange all of that for you, at least get it working. Probably won't be done within the hour, but I can get that all together for you.
Thank you. We
For
are patient.
expediency, focus on the guests for tonight and staff.
Of course.
Agreed. Then I'll look to Ozzy, stop, then look back to the security personnel and say, I'm going to authorize my officers require their equipment.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Would you like me to go get that?
I think we can, but thank you. I'll turn to Ozzy and just give him a nod as if to say, all right, go ahead and go get your shit, kid.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys can go get your
Charles
equipment.
his.
It's officially a Blue Cloak investigation. You guys can reclaim your gear.
Did
Charles sword just reappears.
Jay?
did I miss it, or did you not look at the letter yet?
Nobody's looked
We
at
have
the
not
letter
looked
yet.
at the letter yet.
It's up, essentially.
Yeah, it is currently contained, but we are professionals and not gonna muddy up more of the crime scene just yet. But actually, that being said, I don't have fingerprints, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the letter.
You get all that oil on it, though.
I got gloves.
That's fair. All them oily.
He
I'm
makes
a
a good point.
I'm a
no.
detective, thank you.
I am a professional. How dare
I have a hat.
Yeah. You put on your detective hat, and therefore detective mode engaged. Yeah. So you see that there's this note. It has a broken wax seal that, when put back in place, forms the crossing sieves with the skull in it.
Okay. I don't suppose that symbol. I recognize that symbol at all.
Give me a. Oh, geez, what will this count as? Give me a history roll.
History?
Yeah.
You know who
Okay.
else is
No,
proficient?
you don't recognize it.
Fair enough. All right. What do I recognize the language in the letter?
Are you opening the letter up to look at it?
Yes.
Okay. It's Elven, and there's only 2 words written on it.
Oh, fun.
Mhm.
What are the 2 words?
It's time.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
That's neat. Fair enough. Okay, cool. With that being the case, I'm going to hold on to this letter, and then I'm going to go ahead and give Greengast a once over myself,
Yeah,
just for posterity's sake.
exactly.
Does that.
Okay. What areas are you looking over? Just so I know.
How are they dressed, if you don't mind me asking?
They would be dressed in. They'd be dressed like a. I think we established that Sanafate fashion is very Eastern European.
Yeah, a lot of high collars and shit.
Yeah, a lot of high collars. Not quite going into Asian, but that kind of like Poland, Romania, Czechoslovakia. But that like turn of the
layers.
Yeah, that turn of the century fashion of the 1920s, but in Europe. He's dressed as more of a wealthy aristocrat, but very, very greens and golds.
Cool. Then I'm not going to move the body from where it's been, but I am going to check pockets, check for internal linings in any of the coats, and also do a quick tertiary look over of basically from knees and elbows down for any sort of tattoos or markings or iconography, and the same with the back of the neck, just as like, here are cool places where historically there have been like weird cult symbols and shit.
Absolutely. So give me an investigation and then a medicine afterwards.
Okay. Fucking roll higher than a 5, just once.
Oh,
just once.
I'll assist him after retrieving my weapon.
This probably happens while you're getting your weapons. It sounds like this was separate. Also, you gotta declare helping before the roll too.
That's fair. I can't fucking Cypher can't roll higher than like 1 digits. I swear to Christ.
Did I not? I think I'm lagging.
Hello?
You were lagging, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He already rolled before you said you were helping.
Yeah. And then, but that being said,
you do have
looking it over.
You can help with the medicine.
Yeah, I'm not. Cypher's not trained in medical stuff. He also doesn't have squish bits.
I'm still trained in medicine.
Yes, but this is pertaining to something that he says he's looking for. So,
yeah. So he would be willing to assist me.
Yep, he can help guide you over that. Well, there you go. See,
look at this. Look at this fucking. I can't do anything without advantage. It's just I'm literally not allowed.
Yeah, that is awful.
What is with this? God damn.
Where are these dice today? But with him helping and going like, oh yeah, I looked these over. Here's some things that I noticed. And when you specifically said you were looking over the neck, which is important because it was a spot that Morph didn't mention looking over. When you examine around the back of the neck, you don't see that there's any tattoos, but at the nape of the neck on the left side, where their neck meets the shoulder, there are 2 scarred over pinpricks. They look fresh-ish, but not like a recent injury.
Okay. With a 21, am I able to discern if this seems like puncture wounds from like fangs of like a living creature, or more like surgical puncture?
They look like fangs.
All right, let me just write that in my notes. Fangs, crawly.
Yes, and at the dramatically appropriate moment that you notice that there are fang punctures, scars on his neck, we cut back to Charles standing outside with Sheadosha. And she stands outside of the parlor now that the door is closed, and she seems to take a more relaxed demeanor. And she says, Officer Charles, this is purely confidential and not pertaining to the investigation. There are rooms. Please make a perception roll at disadvantage because it's through a door.
That's fair.
Security sucks.
Well, I mean, she's not.
I fire at the door.
She's not. She's not pressing her ear up against the door. I hope.
No, but I have.
But she's an
long ear.
elf. It's like she's an elf.
She sticks
though.
one ear under the door.
Yeah, she slides part of her ear under the door, and it picks up all the sound. Okay. Yeah, I think it's still enough to hear, even though it's soft. It's a soft conversation. He says, "This is a personal matter that's not relevant to the investigation. There are rooms within my partner's manor that I do not enter. In this parlor, their garden is one of them. There are reasons this party was held in the evening, and why I do not want to step inside of that room." And she, I think what she's going to do first is she's going to try and convince you without saying it outright.
You cut out.
I said, I think what she's going to try to do is try to convince you first before saying it outright. So I'm just going to double check something real quick. Let's use Strahd von Zarovich's stats. That should work. No, I'm kidding. Could you imagine, though? That'd suck. She's been Strahd this whole time.
Rin, don't you do
Don't you do
We
it.
went through this once.
I mean, you beat him the last time I had him show up.
Did we?
You weren't there.
He was dead when we got there.
You technically killed him. So she's just making a persuasion roll. So let's see here. I'm rolling it in private. Okay.
Do you make persuasion rolls against players?
I would have you, if you want to like resist it, be like, meh. I don't know, because like I don't want her to do charm person. She's trying to be convincing. So I don't.
Then it'd be a persuasion check.
Yeah, it would be a persuasion check. You can
Or-
make a what you would do is do a you could probably still do a wisdom saving throw to see if it's convincing enough for you. Like, because it's always weird when you try and tell the players how they feel on a skill check, sort of thing, because it's just dialogue. I don't know. I'm trying not to use magical coercion. She's trying to just be convincing.
I mean, I usually leave that to the onus of the players of whether or not they're suspicious, and then they would make an insight check and just adjust the level. of the
There you go.
For that.
Yeah, that's the justification I was looking for. Yeah. So she just says, there are rooms I can't go into, and she says, and you have to keep in mind that the way I'm saying it is probably not how she's saying it, because I'm trying to find the words to make it work.
She's flustered that her husband just got killed.
she is distraught that her partner had been killed or has died, and she says, you have to understand, I can't go in there for health reasons. I'm incredibly photosensitive. I can't be under the magical lights that they put in that room to help their plants grow. You wouldn't want to do me any harm while this investigation is on, would you? I'm merely asking for you to accommodate my needs and let me stay out here.
You're allergic to the light.
It would cause me great duress.
There is actually a allergy to the light.
Yeah, Charles doesn't know that.
Yeah, so Charles is like, really? You're allergic to sunlight, lady? Come on.
I'm gonna give it an insight check.
Absolutely.
Is she
Okay.
fucking lying?
No, she's not. But you get the feeling there's more to it. There's more she's not telling you, but she's not lying.
Miss Greengas, if I'm going to help you, I need you to be 100% honest with me, and you are holding back right now.
And she kind of sighs and she says, if you promise that this information does not get revealed, then...
If it doesn't pertain to the case, I won't put it in there.
If you're asking me if my condition has any reason why my partner is dead, then no, it doesn't. And she opens her mouth and she shows that the front two teeth look normal, and then the set of teeth between the main two front teeth and the canines are also sharpened, but the canines are elongated, and then the ones, I don't know what they're called, but the ones between the two buck teeth and the canines are also elongated but slightly shorter.
Incisors.
Are they incisors?
I think so. I think you have 4 of them.
Okay.
Not important.
Yeah, but you know the ones. You can feel them in your mouth right now. Not the two big ones, but the ones between them and the canines.
Yep.
They're elongated slightly and sharpened as well. And she says, I cannot go in to that room, or any room that has their magical light within it, nor can I go outside for reasons of my health. I hope you understand without me having to spell it out.
Hey, DM,
Yes.
how do people react to vampires in this world?
Appropriately.
It's a goddamn Dracula.
It's a goddamn Dracula. This is an undead, and it is they would react appropriately. I'm not sure if that helps you or not, but it's a vampire. Very much a vampire, very much a bloodsucker. They tend to be common, or not. They're not uncommon. They don't run rampant. They don't have it's not like Warhammer Fantasy where they have their own little carved out nation, but vampires pop up from time to time, and usually the best thing to do is to kill them because most of them do not have benevolent intentions.
It's a goddamn Dracula elf.
It's a goddamn Dracula elf.
I have a question.
Yes.
With Charles being an officer, the rest of us being cops, what is the legality of vampirism in Ralia?
Ooh. Charles, would you like to roll to see what your legality for it is?
You wouldn't just know.
Well, how good of a cop are you?
He tries his best.
There you go. He tries to be a good boy. I'll give you advantage, though.
I think this is more advanced training, not basic training.
Yeah, it's not beat cop knowledge. Give me a history with advantage.
Shit, this would be
16.
ARD territory, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Charles, what you would know is, as just a regular officer, if you came across anything like this, your job would not to be to deal with it because you're not trained to handle fighting vampires. It is, as Morph said, this would be something that you would immediately contact the ARD. If they posed a hostile threat, you would be authorized to defend yourself to the best of your ability. But they are not legally allowed to operate vampire cabals within the city. A vampire just being there minding their own business isn't illegal, but they're not allowed to spread the vampirism or make spawns within the city. That's very much illegal. Also, the unwilling feeding would be also considered illegal because that would be assault.
She's a consensualist.
Well, no, it's more of the like traditional or D&D vampires don't have the different feeding types like in VTM. So it's very much the you are not willing in this unless you are willing in it, in which case, you can have people who will willingly give you their blood, but most of the time your consent is not a factor.
So
or compliance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was my one shot that I did so long ago still canon?
Not to this.
Not the Feywild one, the other one.
I vaguely recall details of that, but I will say it's not canon to this right now because it hadn't happened.
Okay.
But there might be bits and pieces of it that I steal to use for this because this is a redo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there you go, Charles. She's said it without having to say it.
I imagine after it's shown, Charles kind of freezes for a second. He'll stop moving, his ears perk up.
He does the little dog head tilt.
Yeah, he actually just tilts his head like, I'm sorry. You what? That's not said, but that's the head tilt.
Mm. She kind of like, there's very much an audible growl of frustration. She says, if I go in there, it will kill me. You'll kill me. Do you want that on your hands? And do you want to explain why there are 2 corpses instead of 1? I need to stay out here.
Well, 1 corpse in a pile of ash.
You don't know that. Shut up.
I understand.
There's a sigh of relief, and she says, I promise I will stay right here. And she, like, leans back against the wall that is immediately facing the door and just sits down. I have no desire to cause any trouble. I just do not want to go inside of there.
So, am I able... Sorry.
I may have to make the other officers on duty aware of this, just in case we need to move everyone again.
This isn't anything that has to do with the investigation. If you tell them, merely explain my photosynthesis sensitivity as a medical condition, it's not a lie. What I am is not pertinent, but the condition is true. What are you inciting?
From what I've heard and from the room I'm in, am I able to discern what she is describing of herself?
Oh, yeah. Make a religion roll, please. With advantage.
Okay. It's here somewhere.
Under persuasion.
She a goddamn Dracula.
Okie dokie.
This sounds like somebody who is afflicted with vampirism.
Guess that with a 9?
No, I said with advantage.
Follow-up question then. Would I have heard in my reading of stories and fables and all sorts, and just studying growing up, of there being any kind of cure, theoretical or otherwise, for vampirism?
No, you had not.
Okay.
But yes, Morph, the reason she had advantage was because of her insight first. She used the insight to start piecing it together, and the religion got advantage so that she could come up with the conclusion. Any hoodle. We'll cut back with Charles's weighing his options on if he's going to tell the others or not that this is a goddamn Dracula, or if he's just going to say that she has medical reasons to not be inside of the room. We'll let it hang in the air. But we cut back to Oswick and... Actually, no. Let's cut into the room now, where Lee is trying to listen, and the Freya is equally just kind of like sitting and idling, and she's watching the group. The nobles inside all seem to be huffing, but it's probably about this time that Mallard kind of chimes in. He says, "Boy, this would make a real interesting moving picture. Murder. You like thought about writing stories about murder? Boy, I should write this down. Who do you think's the killer? Personally, I think it's Angus." And Angus like pipes up and he's like, "You shut your gosh darn mouth, you familiar. You probably did it dressing yourself up as a noble." And like, it seems like their tensions are escalating as Ballard is kind of goading the dwarf into being frustrated. And Charles
It's just
isn't there to
Clue.
keep him on. Yeah, and Charles isn't there to keep him in line.
My ears kind of twitch, and I'm like kind of interrupted in my trying to think on things. But I'll stand up and go over to them and just kind of like put a hand on both of them and kind of like push either of them. I don't think this is the time to be going at each other's throats.
Angus says, "Speak for yourself. You're going to try and figure out which one of us is the murderer, and personally I had nothing against Greengast. But Mallard here, every reason to kill him." And Mallard kind of like makes a, "How dare you? I would never."
Well, then how about this? What reasons do all of us have to not? Personally, for me, it puts me in a really, really bad position.
And they all kind of like turn and look, and they're like, "Yeah, what about you?" Greengast hadn't. Alabaster says, "You're right. Greengast has had several of these parties, and we haven't had an incident until you arrived." And they all kind of look and narrow their eyes. They're like, "Yeah."
Why would I want to kill one of my own people? To start a war that would get me killed?
I think that's precisely the reason. You cause yourself a diplomatic incident where there are a bunch of well-to-do Rallian nobles killing one of your dignitaries. You pin it on one of us, and all of a sudden we're back at war.
Why wouldn't, if that were true, why wouldn't I have just gone after a Rallian dignitary?
And Mallard. Mallard is immediately up. He takes out a pipe and he makes the gestures. It looks like he's about to light it, but then when he starts taking a puff, a couple of bubbles pop up out of the end of it, and he says, "Precisely the reason why you'd do it, my dear. You wouldn't kill one of us because that would be too obvious. You elves are tricky in your nature, wily in your schemes, and devious in your dastardliness. You would make it look like we were the ones at fault so you could justificate your reasons for going to war. The Cosbali alone would be ramifications." And finally, Lucinda is like, "Stop talking. You're trying to use big words and it's not working."
He's gone full Daffy Duck.
His name is Mallard. Of course he's gone full Daffy Duck.
Do I hear the raised voices?
Give me a perception check.
13.
Yeah, I would say so. The doors are solid, naturally shaped tree wood, but they're not super thick. Actually, they probably would be like cool sliding doors that aren't very thick at all, so that they would be light enough to move. So yeah, you hear pretty well. There is, you can't quite make out what the conversation is, but the elevated voices is becoming more and more clear. And Sheadosha looks and she says, "I promise I'll stay here. Just keep the doorway open if you're worried." And she kind of like scoots slightly so she wouldn't be in the direct room light, but still right where she said she would be.
Charles nods and opens up the door.
And you open the door to see that all of the nobles are in like a semicircle around Lee now, and Mallard is leading the like accusatory. He's like, "Absolutely, it makes perfect sense that she would be the one to do it. Nobody's died.
I see.
Nobody's died
So
since
Everyone
you
back
first."
off.
And Ballard kind of slinks
Blue
back.
Cloaks The Blue Cloaks will figure out what happened exactly tonight.
I'm just saying it's awfully suspicious.
Oh, I guess that's the last time I stand up for you and defend you.
Elves don't stand up for any of our kind.
I guess I'm the first, and I was wrong to do so.
It would seem so, with how flippant your loyalties are. If you were innocent, you wouldn't be changing your mood so quickly.
You accused me first.
I did, with every good reason, madam. They are ignoring you, Charles.
Why would I do something to get myself killed?
Who said you would be killed? Nobody would suspect you. It's going to assume that one of us did it. That was the whole premise of our argument, that you were the one to do it.
That makes no sense.
It makes every sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Your only guess is because
Mallard,
I haven't been
Lee,
here before.
sit down. No pointing fingers.
Fine. Tell me then, officer, and he air quotes, what have you figured out thus far? Why is the princess over there not in here with us?
I am the princess.
I meant the actual princess. He gestures over to the late wife. Why is she getting allowed to be out there? Maybe I feel a little claustrophobic.
She has a disease preventing her from sitting under this room.
Yeah, I bet. They always give half-elves a special treatment. He crosses his arms and sits down. Like, and that's when, like, all the servants and the remaining security guards all look at him. But then again, he is a familiar.
Hey, Ren, about how long has it been?
It's probably been about 20 minutes.
Okay.
We can cut back to you guys, though. It sounds like we're at a dramatically appropriate time to switch scenes, to keep the tension ping-ponging.
I will point out the old munchie marks to Ozzy.
And
I'll pull back on your previous medicine roll, Oswick. So once they're pointed out, you look them over. They look fairly fresh, but not recent. It looks like they've had some time to heal. But it seems to be that these are a multiple use bite injury. Whatever had been biting them had been using this particular spot, like kind of like how like track lines start to form over multiple use. It's the same deal where they just kind of scar over and keep getting used and used. But there are a couple of other older, more healed over spots, but these are the most prevalent.
And would these spark anything in my training/school?
Make a Arcana and or Religion check. It's just or. There's no and.
Can I also do the thing?
Yes. Hey, another.
I rolled higher than a 2.
Rolled higher than a 2. Yeah, so the two of you search your mental databases, and yeah, this kind of this is strange. Certainly unexpected. The elder elf seems to have been bitten on more than one occasion by something with fangs that fall within the alignment of a humanoid bite. Oswick, hitting the threshold in your ARD trainings particularly, this sounds like a classic vampire bite.
Well, I hope that guest list comes with the information that one of these people is a vampire.
Gotta register those damn vampires. They walk around with a big V sewed onto their chests. Yeah. It is about this time that one of the security guards that, not given free reign, but is able to move about to get you this information, comes back, and you are given the guest list. The 4 major nobles that were mentioned each have their names, their occupations, ages, things like that. Basic information that wouldn't be uncommon for digging up who they are. The wait staff are all half-elves of various names. Nothing that stands out of place. The security staff are all half-elves. Nothing that seems to stand out of place. Even the information on Shaegem comes up that she is a half-elf, but her age is not listed. But, you know, probably not something that gets pulled up because it's not like an employee record or anything like that. Right. But yeah, there's nothing about the guest list that seems immediately strange. These are all the people you met at the party, including the Freya's name got penciled in. It looks like she was a surprise visit. Which is probably the most standout-y thing, because she wasn't on the guest list. She just got added in at the last moment. As well as Lee being penciled in the night before, because she was personally invited.
Okay. Did we get the manifest for the goods and the food?
Yes.
Things like that being ordered?
All of the goods and food being all vegan friendly produce and stuff was locally sourced from the Urban Druids Guild. So you have no reason to doubt it. The shipments were taken in by the wait staff, and the head chef and cooking staff We're the only ones really seen handling them or messing with them. Tampering is not the right word for that. Seen messing with any of it when they brought it in. So outside of that, you got the names of all the people who were serving food. One of the servants that brought their food out in particular is in the parlor with everyone else. So if you need to question them about, did they do anything between here and bringing the food out to the kitchen, they're there and available, but it doesn't. Nothing brings up any like immediate criminal records or anything from them just doing like a quick thing. It's like here's what we got. But no, nothing out of the ordinary other than Lee and the Freya being recent additions to this party.
Okay.
Rin, while Cypher is going over these manifests and everything, Ozzy is going to pull the goggles off his head and pull out his thieves' tools and start tinkering as I will thematically ritual cast detect magic by turning the goggles of night into just temporary magic finders.
Okay. And do you put them on?
Once the 10 minutes is up and I can use them, yes, he will put them on and begin looking around first the immediate area and then...
Cypher, do you do anything? Cypher, do you do anything during this 10 minutes?
Looking over that information, yeah, he'll turn back to the security officer and say, please inform Officer Charles that will be requiring detain the individuals in the room until reinforcements can arrive, after which we will reconvene.
Okay. Oswick, the 10 minutes pass, and you go to put the goggles on. I need a wisdom saving throw, please.
The entire house is magic.
Oh boy, oh.
It is in a tree.
Yeah, this is 3.5. You stepped into hell and you did detect evil. The entire tree is magical. So you get hit by turning your night vision goggles on during the day, and it's blinding. But you haven't. Actually, no, you are stunned for 1 round as the magical light overwhelms your sensory overload, and you are stunned for a round and pull the goggles off. Everything's magical.
Well, that was not such a great idea then.
Do I just hear a scream?
Does Oswick scream?
Oswick would not scream, no.
There is definitely no girly wizard scream from down the hall.
That'd be good because he's not a wizard.
Wink. I mean, he's got the wizard hat. It's also kind of amusing because if you look at his token without zooming in too much, it looks like he's holding a knife.
A what?
It looks like he's holding a knife. Like he's like,
He's got a knife!
He's got, I'm gonna cut you, Lee.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna knife those knifeies.
Okay. So once Ozzy attempts goggles and then D attempts goggles, Cypher is going to look once the security officer is gone. The information that we have acquired about these unique punctures, I believe they are not directly relevant, but something that should be followed up on as a secondary. I feel that we should question first the staff and the immediate area, then the guests, then pool information and move forward from there.
Who was the person that had gotten the rest of the effects off of the...
Charles.
That's Charles. He left them.
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
everything,
he set
he
them
set
up
everything
like
aside.
You probably
Okay,
got the
then
numbers and everything.
Oswick's gonna take a look over those, and noticing the locket I think we might have to question the lady of the house as well.
Of course.
Ooh.
More often than not, in matters of murder in a relationship, the spouse is to be expected.
And with this locket not containing her picture but some other woman's, there might be motive.
Do you look at the
Agreed.
locket, though?
He would look at all the evidence, yes.
Gets his grimy fingerprints all over the evidence and opens the locket to find there is a picture
I have
of
my
it.
own gloves.
Or so you say. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture here. Well,
I
actually, I
have
don't.
various
He
sets of
does
gloves,
not wear
considering
gloves.
I have
Oh.
taser gloves.
Taser face. Let's see here. I probably don't have time to make a cool little like locket picture of this, but it's fine. I'll make it work. So this will be up. I think I have this saved. I don't have to go dig it up. Where are you? Oh, I'm in the folder already. Bleh. There it is. And yeah, so you open up the locket and you find that there is a picture of a voluptuous dark-haired woman inside. The locket is cut into like that heart shape, but there's no name written on it, but there's a picture is seen as shown.
Oh no.
And we haven't. The woman doesn't look familiar, hasn't been in the house
It's an
at all,
elf.
or wasn't among the guests.
It's
Fair.
an elf, but not among the guests, no.
Are there any etchings or engravings on the locket itself?
Give me a D100. I want to see how I should word this locket engraving. Yeah, I just kicked myself to the wrong room.
8. Low is good, right? It's like
familiar picture.
It's
like
not a
contact.
familiar picture to you, Oswick. You don't know who this is.
No, but it is to me.
Nah, you don't know shit. So the inscription of the locket is in Elven, so it's not hard for you to read. And it just says, trying to think how they would word this. Oh, I know. It would say, it'd say, to a wonderful friend for years of dedicated service. And then give me an Arcana check real quick.
can I do it with advantage because Ozzy is helping?
Yes, as a matter of fact, and because I'm prompting you and I want you to actually get this.
God fucking, I can't roll
God
higher
bless
than
it.
a 2.
Well, with a 10, you're able to notice that the locket itself, the way the words are engraved on there, it looks like the locket had been reshaped so that, like, this wasn't the original intended shape of the locket to have that art shaped. It looked like it got made that way after the engraving was put on one side.
Okay. Is the picture, can I remove the picture from the locket?
Oh my god, if this guy was my grandfather.
It's placed within glass, but you could probably take it out if you really wanted to.
I will
I
take
can
the time
use
and
my
be very
tools to
meticulous.
safely do that.
Yeah,
do that.
go ahead and roll your tools for me. Let's see if you can carefully take it out, or if you just take a fucking hammer to this locket. Ozzy lifts up his mallet and smashes this fine piece of crap. No, it's fine. You take it out without an issue. Actually, it'll
Hell
be
yeah.
super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
I don't have Tinker's tools yet, but I do have my thieves' tools.
Anything on the back of the photo or the underside of the locket itself? Any indication of a date or a name or anything like that?
Actually, yes. And what it's going to say, and I'm going to deepen this mystery further by adding this in because I love people who are thorough. It's going to
I'm a robot. It's my job.
You are a robot. It's your job. It's going to say... I'm going to make up a date just because we haven't established what the yearly calendar for this is. So, yeah, it says fuck Raiden. Yeah, there you go. It's going to say...
No context.
Yep, just fuck Braid.
No, it just says no context. That's it.
I'm offended you'd remove my picture.
I removed your picture? What?
No, what's on the back of the paper.
Oh, yeah. If you're reading this message, you will self-destruct. I prepared explosive rooms. Yeah, it just says I prepared explosive rooms today, and that's it. You're done.
If you are reading this, you are already dead.
Yeah. So what's written on the back is just a elegantly scribbled note, and it just says Ironwood Campaign 1417.
Again.
What would I know of the Ironwood campaign?
Yeah, I was about to say, can we make history checks?
Absolutely. Let's world build.
Detective hats.
Yeah.
Where?
Come on, get it.
History.
I believe in you, Cypher.
Fucking! I'm leaving. I
God.
quit. I'm done. Fuck this
Cypher,
campaign.
no!
Fuck this character. No, this is bullshit.
No.
I built a goddamn really good detective.
You
This is absolute trash.
Oh no! Oh no!
Ah!
Here's the thing. Cypher thinks he's a good detective, but he's just Inspector Gadget. Oh no! Oswick is Penny and Charles's brain. Oh no!
I don't want to play anymore.
Oh no! We're Inspector Gadget, y'all. Oh no!
You make a character to do one thing, can't even do it. I don't want to play anymore. Fuck it. I'm
I don't
out.
want to live on this planet anymore. Oh,
I
no.
guess that makes Arissa the Claw. What does that make Lee, though?
The cat.
Yeah, she's the cat.
Alright, well, what did Ozzy get?
Oh, jeez. Well, you know what? Cypher, we can write that off as you were built towards the latter end of the war, anyways. So maybe.
I mean, I have no memory.
Yeah, you have no memory, so that's you were built in the latter end, and they probably wiped your war memory. Seeing as
He was built to
Did
be
we-
an officer.
Well-
He wasn't built for a war as a war machine.
I
Well-
was not built to be an officer. That was actually made very
Yeah.
clear.
Message me privately.
Okay, fair.
Message me privately. How much of the war Cypher might have taken place in, because it's not information that's pertinent to the other players. Just so
Okay.
because like we just said, it's like you have no memory, so it wouldn't be anything that would check with you, and you don't have like Wi-Fi database, so it doesn't mean anything to you. Charles, most importantly, 1417 is about 25 years ago. So let's write this down so I don't forget it. The current year is 1439? Math? No. 25 years. 42.
I think Rin meant me.
42.
1442. Charles was not looking at the picture. Yeah, I did not mean you. I still have Charles in charge running through my brain. The current year is 1442. Everybody make sure you note that down, because now that I've established that a calendar exists, I'm going to have to keep track of it. 1442 year of our Lord Kyphon. Oswick.
1442 AB after Brennus.
After Brennus. Brennus hasn't shown up yet, sir. First of all. Yeah, so you would know that that's 25 years ago. The Ironwood campaign is what the agreed upon term for the Southern Front that was in Saint Fate offensive that largely pushed into the southern regions along the side of the Demon Wastes. It was a long and bloody campaign that broke away from the conventional trench warfare that was common towards the latter part of the war, and it was largely done in open plains where it was more common to see mounted divisions going at it, largely the Warforged and what the equivalent of the Saint of Fate mounted divisions, which was largely just
centaurs and elves on elks.
Yeah, actually, the heavy cavalry for the Saint of Fate Empire was just centaurs. They also were incredible horse archers. Horse archers. They were also incredible archers as mounted archery cavalry, as well as heavy armored shock troops. So it was a rough campaign. There was a lot of open plain skirmishes through there, but it was also one of the turning points in the war, where one of the generals had been, for the Rallian side, for the Federated States of Rallia, had been assassinated behind Saint of Fate, or on the Rallian side, behind enemy lines for the Saint of Fate side. They had been assassinated in their manner shortly before the campaign had led up, and it was considered largely a victory for the Saint of Fate. They had taken large swaths of territory during it. Once this notable general had been killed, the person who took over was considered largely incompetent and incapable of doing their job. Would you like to know more?
Ozzy would have definitely probably researched a lot more around that time, especially since that is the year of his birth.
Better be taking notes.
During the year of his birth, you're the kind of person who would have looked at a day in the history of the day you were born.
He would have gone back a lot, just considering his father dying before he was very old. So he'd be trying to put those pieces together, see what could have influenced.
All right, give me another history and tell me what particular you're looking for. Then I can narrow your information gathering, because that's the Cliff Notes version of the history lesson.
Ozzy would have been looking for any sort of I want to say clandestine, but not just that, but any sort of links that might have to do with, like, considering there was an assassination behind Rallian borders, if there were any sort of similarities or anything notated down about such things, considering the situation with his own father's death.
Yep. No, there's no connection to your family. Okay, gotcha, Keavah. I saw your message now. Nope.
There might not have been a link, but he would have studied.
There's no.
Stood out.
There's no link to it, but as far as the history books go, the general had been assassinated. Um, very basically, he would have been shot while driving through Raleigh. Not even on duty at the time. Had just been
I thought
assassinated.
you said he died in his own manner.
Right. I keep track of the things I just say. Thank you, Morph. Had been shot through the window of his manor while sitting at their desk. The individual that took over is deemed largely incompetent and retired in disgrace. They also had abdicated the halfling throne once the war had ended because they were given a vote of no confidence, and that's how the halflings officially were welcomed into the FSR. Most history books also leave a asterisk there, and at the bottom of the book, when you look for additional information, it just says "fuck Brayton."
I like how this is just like world building information and has nothing to do with the guy's death.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. It
Yeah.
might.
I mean, why would it be? Why would a year 20 years ago be relevant to this dude dying? I don't know. Maybe we'll need this for later.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you say halfling king or?
yeah, Halfling King abdicated the throne because their stint as a military leader was so traumatically bad that basically nobody wanted to follow him afterwards. And so they were like, well, I guess I'm done being king.
Well, very interesting. Nothing Ozzy's putting together. A lot of things I'm putting together currently.
Charles is the most detective.
He does all the detective things tonight.
I get to be locked in a room.
What? I'm just reading Keavah. What?
What?
So noting all that, I can't really.
They're also going to be an undercover private investigator, so the Dickin has multiple meanings.
I like it.
Like, we've got a lot of information, but the note on the back of the picture doesn't really indicate what the picture might be for or any sort of meaning that links her to him.
We should replace the locket and make note to bring it up and question it when speaking the deceased's wife. Shock emotional response can often many truths.
To shreds, you say.
Right. I'm at an impasse. What there is left to search over here. We can continue to wait for the backup, but we might also get more done in the interim if we were to go question the guests at the current moment.
I think it would be unwise to question it. That would remove manpower. However, we can investigate the kitchen.
As you say, then we will go. If he was poisoned, then that would be the most likely spot to find such a thing.
Agreed. We should station a security member here with the corpse. Cypher kind of pauses, straightens up for a moment. You hear like a slight whirling. I would like to redact my previous statement. I do not think that anyone here considered innocent at this time. We will stay with the body until reinforcements arrive to ensure no further tampering.
Very well, then if we are not to investigate the kitchen at this moment, I will at least take a look at the victim's food.
Agreed. That would be very wise. If you feel you can be no longer of use, you have my permission to join Officer Charles, his security detail, until we receive reinforcements.
Is there a piano in here in the room I'm in?
So Mallard's in the process of accusing Lee of murder, and then she just goes, "Ooh, a piano," and walks over and starts playing.
Pretty
Would
much.
there be a piano in the garden?
Well, it's a parlor that is shaped to look like a garden. So, roll me a D100. Let's see.
What are the
Would
chances?
that not have been in the room? We just forced them out.
69, best number.
I'm inclined to give you whatever you want because you rolled that. That's the auto win number. Did you guys kick them out of the parlor? Did I miss that?
No.
No.
Well,
they're
no,
still-
I was saying, wouldn't that have been in the
In the dining-
entertaining room
in-
where we were just having, yeah.
in the
There's
dining room.
usually a piano
No.
off to the side.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but this. I'm
I was
willing.
under the impression there was a stage or something.
No, it's a dining room, Morph.
This isn't the theater.
yeah,
He has
it's-
those parties on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
It's a gala.
Anyways, yes, Lee, you got the magic number. I'm inclined to give you whatever you want, including the gun to shoot Ballard with, so he'll shut his fucking mouth. No, there's a piano. So Lee goes, "You know what? I don't care what you think. Piano," and goes over to find the piano.
Yeah, I'm probably just like, well, you're the one who and just completely lose interest. I'm gonna go over and start playing.
Okay. And Mallard's like, "It's exactly what an evil elf would do, trying to make... What? He just looks dumbfounded. And she
How
starts...
dare you annoy me? Of course you know this means war.
Yeah, and then a second piano gets wheeled out, and the two of you
Oh,
have a
yes.
piano duel.
I can't tell if you're serious or not.
Well, it's a reference.
Mm-hmm.
What do I have to do to investigate
I keep forgetting
salad?
you're a fresh-faced Babu who does not understand. In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Daffy Duck and Donald Duck have a piano duel during a club scene, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about fresh-faced Babu Lee.
No, Ark, because he's a fresh-faced Babu.
I've seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I'm genuinely surprised.
Movie's pretty cool.
I remember that, and I remember realizing just how lewd that movie was.
It was
As
not.
Oh, yeah.
It was not meant for a kids movie. Also, the book is 10 times worse. Also, hey, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. Do you guys want to take a break?
Yes, please.
Alrighty, let's take a break. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was just... While everyone else steps away, is there something I should roll to investigate salad?
Yes. Make a medicine check. I'm assuming you're looking for like
Sweet.
poisons and stuff, right?
I'm gonna make it-
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a medicine check.
You take
Oh, look,
you
my
taste-
bad roll for the night.
You taste the salad. It's a raspberry vinaigrette,
and
no-
it was poisoned.
and it was poisoned.
And I slapped myself in the forehead for being like, why did I eat that?
Yeah. You dip a finger and taste it, and you're like, no, definitely not poison.
All right, I'll be right back now.
Yep. Starting to think that this might carry over into another session too. I like it. Content. I'll be right back.
I'm back. Why is everybody quiet?
We're on break
Oh.
for
Damn it.
like probably
I'm
3
going
more
food.
minutes.
I'm back with pot roast.
Oh my god, I hate this.
What happened?
No, just this, because Ozzy's not getting anywhere with the investigation, but I'm pretty sure out of character, I know exactly what this murder mystery is entailing.
I have no clue, and neither does Charles.
I also think Rin will absolutely hate me if I turn out to be right. But I guess Rin's not here to hear any of this.
Arissa killed him to start a war. Well, not directly,
Sort
but she
of.
probably sent someone. Well, not directly, of course. She sent one of her agents and yada yada.
So my working theory right now, he's a plant that has worked for Arissa in the past, and because of that letter, the It's Time
Yep.
has killed himself in an attempt to respark the war.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
And basically just took whatever the elven version of the cyanide capsule in the tooth.
Nothing our characters would know.
Yeah, I'm just like, the vampire is a red herring here. What the fuck?
Yeah, the vampire has done nothing. She would not kill her blood bag in such an obvious way.
I mean, Arissa's a red herring too. Everybody's just interested in it.
I don't think Arissa's a red herring. I legitimately think this is her plan, that she has ordered him to kill himself in order to respark a war.
Why her daughter is a prisoner?
Yes?
No.
Absolutely.
For the good of the Empire.
No, she's always been all about family and taking care of them. So much so that she'd go against it.
She was before. We don't know how Rin has rewritten this character.
That's fair. She did allow the Empress to send you out here to begin with.
I don't think so. Because if she really did want if that really was her goal, or their goal, we would be the obvious target.
Squawk. Everybody back? That's the sound that we're back.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Yes.
Keavah is.
Yo.
Never mind.
Keavah?
What?
Okay. I heard you and Ark talk at the same time, so I wasn't sure if it was actually you or just him.
No, I'm here. I'm just eating.
Eating? What you eating?
Spaghetti.
What you eating under there? Anyways. Yeah. So, everybody's had some time to compile some evidence, but I didn't get a performance. Oh no, I did get a performance check. Asley, you fucking go, oh, that's a piano, and just completely end the conversation, leaving Charles standing at the doorway, and most of the people looking confused as she starts playing some music for everyone. Down in the dining hall, you hear the sound of piano keys and the music residing off of the wood. And for a living tree house, the acoustics in here are amazing because it seems to permeate through the entire house as she starts playing.
Does it seem to get the nobles to kind of calm down a little bit? Or are they still just as
They look
agitated?
confused as fuck by the sudden tone change of the conversation being ended and her playing a piano. Like, they are looking like this woman just dropped all accusations of her being a murderer to playing a piano.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep an eye to make sure they don't jump her.
Oswick, what was the medicine check for?
Poison.
Poison. Right. You tasted.
It was
you
me.
tasted.
It was me.
You
eating
tasted.
the-
You tasted the vinaigrette and determined that it was not
Yeah.
poisoned.
I tasted the poisoned man's food. Maybe.
Yeah. Rez says it should have been purple worm poison, but I disagree.
No, I discussed my theories during the break.
Purple worm poison isn't ingested.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's not. Could you imagine if it was, though? Just having your stomach dissolve from the inside? Oof.
In theory, any poison could be modified.
Yep. It's true. Oh, that would be fucking brutal.
It would.
Anywho, the two of you out in the dining hall, you hear the sounds of this music. What do we do?
What? Osric pauses, drags a hand over his face. Osley found a piano.
Affirmative.
I'm not exactly sure why there are two pianos going off, but Osley at least found one.
There's a second one being played by Mallard. They are dueling pianos.
Assuming this violence does not lead to escalation, I see no reason. Just
I mean, considering at the end of the scene a cannon was taken out, it might escalate.
that's fair. Didn't hear a cannon though, so
Get shot in the back.
Not yet. We haven't-
Charles,
yeah. I have no reason to
Any
suspect
cannons?
cannon.
And we have to stay out here until backup arrives.
Do you, though?
You can assist Officer Charles. I am more than capable of maintaining integrity. This scene.
If you are certain about that, Cypher, then I will leave you in charge of the.
The other vampires can't hurt Cypher. He has no blood.
That's also true. I ain't got no blood.
Mhm.
And I can remove my neck at a moment's notice.
Oh shit, could you imagine, like, Warforged vampires? They just have, like, little syringes that pop out of their mouths.
Oh,
I
that's
want-
actually kind of cool.
I want a horror one-shot that's just like a group of old Warforged against a vampire apocalypse. Like a vampire and ghoul apocalypse.
Oh, that'd be fucking awesome. Let's
Yeah,
make
it'd
this
be neat
happen,
shit.
guys.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
All right.
Um,
I'm
anyway.
gonna write that down.
Yeah, write that shit down. I
also,
might write
also Vampire Warforged. I'm writing this down too.
just a bunch of question marks.
Well, like, here's the thing. The idea would be they're not drinking it for themselves. The syringes just have little tanks where they draw blood, and it's for something else. What the something else is, you decide.
I mean, in theory, whenever you make a Warforged, you can make them with vampiristic characteristics.
Yeah.
So I suppose.
Nah, Rin, here's how you make it. It's not Vampire Warforged. It's Wereforged.
Oh shit! On the full moon, people turn into Warforged. It's fucking horrifying. I like it.
Everyone is an android.
Yeah, but yeah. So
I'm a Cylon.
Cypher will give a nod to Oz if he wants to check out the thing.
Yes, Osric will move to join Charles and the others. Osric will take the locket, though, and probably ask the lady of the house would give him a chance.
I'm gonna tell him to not do that.
Please don't.
He goes for the locket, and I'm gonna stop him and say, "I'm hitting control like it's my push to talk button. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's my robot voice button. My bad.
That was
very.
Right.
That's all right.
Anyway, I'm just going to hold my hand up and say, the evidence must remain in the body for now.
I guess you're all right. I can pursue the questioning later.
Questioning should be done in appropriate environment as well. Please remain professional."
Yeah.
Go join Charles then.
Who is the most professional? Is sighing.
Hey, he hasn't done anything that I thought he would.
He's just sighing visibly as this piano duel is happening.
I'm programmed to have faith in my comms. Anyway, I'm gonna mute myself and eat this food.
Yeah, each of spaghettis.
To be fair, this is distracting them from trying to kill each other.
That's fair. That's a valid reason. Yep. So, Oswick, you approach the sounds of the music playing. You see a very annoyed but kind of glad there's a distraction looking Charles, and then the lady of the house, not in the parlor but sitting in the hallway.
Charles, I thought we were escorting everyone into the parlor, and what is going on in there?
There's a piano duel. It's keeping them distracted.
I gathered as much, and I'm assuming Osley is one of them.
Yep, the other is Mallard.
And the lady of the house is not in there. Why?
She's allergic to sunlight, which this room has.
She's allergic to... Well, we no longer have to check which of the guest list might be culprit there.
When you say culprit, she narrows her eyes. I'm not sure I understand what you're implying, officer.
Charles takes a step back and closes the door.
You'll forgive my usage of the word simply culprit in some of the scarring we found on the Lord. I'm assuming, going with my learnings on the matter, that you would know what these bite marks on the back of his neck were. I'm not saying you're involved in his death.
Make
Just
a persuasion check.
Feeding.
There's a lot of accusations in your words.
Well, yes, he's accusing her of being responsible for those wounds, but not any wounds that would have killed. It's a 2. I'm not good at people.
Her eyes narrow.
Oswick.
Her
You know
eyes.
who is?
Her eyes narrow even more, and she says, "I don't
Yeah,
like
the
what
not
you're
cop
trying.
is good.
I don't like what you're trying to suggest to happen to my partner."
Again, I'm not suggesting you murdered him. I noticed some older
Oswick.
wounds that were on his form.
I don't
Yes,
believe she was
Charles.
involved in the murder.
I will not discount her considering the effects we found on his person, but I am not saying she is immediately suspicious.
She's as detained as anyone else in that room.
I am very aware. And the other guests have taken to piano.
Seems so. It's better than them pointing fingers at each other.
And they were up in arms before.
They were doing more than their fair share of that earlier, too.
Well then. We're still waiting on the backup, but if you wouldn't mind, your ladyship, I would like to get some base information. Assuming you've known a few of these people, if they've been to gatherings of his before, do you know of any reason they might have wanted your partner removed from the picture?
Well, to be honest, I'm not too keen on that Mallard. He's an uppity ne'er-do-well who doesn't understand his place. And
Charles' eyes narrow a little.
she remembers that you are in fact a familiar, and forces one of those smiles. I don't trust that Mallard. He's an odd duck. He says, "I don't mean any offense by it, officer. I'm sure you've earned your position and title. But dressing... I don't approve of the way he peacocks around, thinking that he is more than what he should be. He's a charlatan. Nothing more.
Oswick raises a brow at that.
His heritage has nothing to do with it. He's earned his money well. Let's just say that he doesn't have the most clean of consciences, and this business of being in the moving pictures, nobody's asked him what kind of pictures he makes, have you?"
There's a cannon shot.
There's a cannon shot from
Honestly,
inside the parlor.
I was on the opposite side of the room and had no idea what his profession was.
Was there actually a cannon shot?
No, there's no cannon shot. The artificer,
Shush it,
the artificer is outside. He's the only one who makes cannons around here. Actually, that's not true. Angus also makes cannons, but he didn't bring any of them.
If he's an artificer, he can summon one.
Yeah,
Also, I can't make cannons yet. I'm not level 3.
Yeah.
I don't have a subclass.
Ha, nerd.
Yep.
One day we'll be level 3. Another 6.
One day you'll level up. You have to fight stuff and win.
You have to play the game.
You have to play the game. That's really what it is.
What the fuck? Okay, I'll be right back.
Hi. Anywho.
Hi,
Yeah. It's my phrase. Anywho, she basically says that he's a charlatan. She goes, Lucinda is from the Arcane Assortium. Witches and warlocks mostly. They tend to get their powers from less orthodox means. The ARD, as it were, is usually the more respectable way of handling your magic, and boy, she is not doing any favors with Charles tonight. Fuck familiars, fuck warlocks. She's like, and Alabaster is a man, so men are also should be questioned in evil. She's just gonna hit the trifecta here to really piss Charles off. No, she just kind of is like, Lucinda's a warlock of some power, and the rumors is that she gains her magical abilities from more nefarious means. She keeps it all well and under control, but anyone who would be a Diablerist is one who should be kept under more close watch. I imagine she might have had some deal or scheme to get my husband's soul, if she would have had any reason to do so. I don't have any reason to suspect Alabaster. He is merely a silk merchant. Very boring, doesn't do much at all. And Angus, well, Angus fought in the war. He would have every reason to want to hold a grudge against Xenofate. Those are my speculations. They've all been at these parties before. They've all been very cordial and familial with us for some time. I have no reason to believe any of them would want to, but it would seem that they all have reasons they could. But what about the girl that came with you all? This is the first time anything bad has happened, and she was the one who came here tonight as a surprise guest.
I assure you, as boisterous as Lady Osley is, she is an elf of 20 years. I doubt she's capable of this sort of thing, and she has proven much to us that any sort of bloodshed usually sends her to tears and trying to help.
Is that why she tampered with the body immediately? What if she was trying to cover up evidence?
It is more reason for me to believe she's innocent in the matter, as a childlike reaction to someone falling dead and trying to save them.
So a patsy, then.
I would assume so in this case. Tell me, the other sudden invitation, Thafira.
The Inquisitor?
Do you know much about her?
I know that she's an Inquisitor from the Xenofate. I have never been to the Empire myself. My kind's not welcome there. We're considered... My kind is in a half-elf. She looks at Oswick again pointedly. We're not welcome within the Xenofate. Our human blood makes us undesired.
I did not mean to imply anything. I was just trying to gather as much information of the guests as I could.
Theodon was different. He always saw the beauty in us.
Rin,
Yes.
could I roll back for a bit? Because I'm now realizing that even though I had been around when Cypher did his inspection of the scroll, I didn't. Ozzy would have tried to see if he recognized anything from the seal.
Okay. You can make me a history check. Now make me a religion with advantage.
Oh boy, 2 checks.
Whew, come on, baby. Don't fuck me. I'm not trained in 15.
15. Okay. Let's see how to work this. What timer are we at, by the way?
8:10.
10. So it's not enough to put a cliffhanger, but that's fine. So you kind of think what you might know through your mental database about this wax seal. Nothing seems to come to place, but the iconography is a little weird. It seems to be implying something pertaining to death, given the skulls and the scythe motif. Even though this isn't the real world, some characteristics carry over. Skulls and scythes are usually synonymous with death and death domains.
It's the concept of reaping.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Reaping of the soul. But you can't place a finger on what exactly it is. But between the message and the seal, it looks like somebody was very clearly telling Zeodon that they were going to die.
Well, without being able to draw a connection between the seal and anyone currently present, or any house, perhaps, he would look to.
You would know that it's not anything connected to the FSR.
I mean, the note was written in Elvish, right?
Yes. You are
So
not.
then
You are not proficient with Santa Fate organizations.
With what?
You are not proficient with Santa Fate organizations.
No.
That's fair.
But that being said, Ozzy will then proceed. So then, what would the reasoning behind your partner having a scroll with the words "It's time" written in Elvish on him?
She blinks and she says, "It what? What do you mean they had something telling them?" And she's on her feet immediately, and she looks between you and Charles, and she says, "What's the meaning of this? What do you mean they had a note?"
There was a scroll on his person with a broken seal that depicted crossed sides and a skull. The scroll simply read, "It's time," written out in Elvish.
Her expression darkens a little bit, and she kind of slumps back down along the wall. She says, "Oh, my dear Zeodon."
Gonna insight this.
I wish.
Just go gadget pimp arm.
Someone's breaking protocol.
Someone's the most recent hiree to the.
He's the rookie.
I gave him one order. Just
You-
the one.
You
did.
had
Just follow
one job.
protocol. That's all I said.
Yeah.
Don't
No.
talk to the lady. That's
You-
all I said. And
you
that's
see-
the only one he's talking to is the lady.
You see the
Why
you see
you doing it to me?
You see the blue ring on the side of Cypher's temple go red. And he smacks a
Kill
bitch.
mode engaged.
Oh my god. Continue. I'm sorry.
No,
Continue.
it's fine.
No, I get it,
Uh,
and I would stop him, but you know.
No, it's fine. You don't know.
Charles is like,
It is completely in
you're
character
a
for
beat-
Ozzy to
you're
do
a
this,
beat cop.
unfortunately.
He's not following orders. It'll be okay. I'm just a robot that's literally designed to kill people. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
none of this makes any sense.
It's fine.
Yeah. So when you insight it, she looks visibly distressed that the revelation of this information, and she's like, she has that like sorrowful laugh, and she goes, "Of course, this all makes so much sense now."
Is there something you would like to share with us?
Zeodon was nearing 4 centuries. Quite old, even by elven standards. I don't think there was any foul play involved.
And what do you mean by that?
Killed himself.
It's about this time that Lee's music would finish, and
I
She would
kind of like stand up and say, "May this be an ode to the departed," and just kind of like give a bow of my head and.
Sheodora looks to Charles and says, Could you ask the elves to come out, please? They would like feeling better."
Sorry, what was that? I was cutting out.
You were asked to go get the elves. They could explain better than she would.
Oswick then goes to the door and opens it. And
Oh
steps
shit,
inside.
you took over Oswick? I like it.
I think that was him acknowledging me, bowing, and then going to.
Oh no, she told
He didn't-
Charles to go. Ark said Oswick does.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but finally, it's full circle now.
I'm tired.
It's full circle, guys.
Now, is she meaning anyone with elf blood, or is she meaning the full-blooded elf?
No, she said go get the elves.
All right.
Half elves don't refer to themselves as elves. They have no connection to those people. They don't want anything to do with them. Except Zeodon. Zeodon's different. He saw the beauty in all of them. They saw the beauty in all of them. I keep fucking doing that.
Charles gets the
Azalea would have
elves.
liked to get to know.
Does Charles go get them?
Yes.
Okay. Azalee, you see Charles approaching, and they ask you and the Freya to come outside.
Okay. I will
Uh,
step out.
When Sheodora sees the two of you, she says, I think I've figured out what happened. Can you help enlighten our human and familiar officers? The lifespan of your people, they tend not to live past 400 years. Is that correct?
Give or take, yes.
I think that this message that was left for him was not done by any nefarious means. I think something was telling him that his time had come. Did you find any injuries on him?
Sadly, anything recent would have been healed by Miss Osley's outburst.
Not on a dead body, no.
There's a
There's
frown.
nothing to mend.
Then we'll need to wait for a medical professional. I think my beloved may have just passed on. It was unfortunate timing that it happened during our dinner.
May I have a look at him?
No.
Shoot an irritated glance.
Unfortunately, until our reinforcements arrive, it is not good for suspects to contaminate the crime scene.
Further contaminate.
I'm a suspect.
Further.
Everyone in the room was a suspect.
What about you then?
I am an officer.
You were in the room too. I wouldn't
You
hurt
were
any of my own
correct,
people.
but it is our
I wouldn't hurt
job.
anyone.
Our job is to protect everyone here, Miss Osley. And you will do well to remember that. Our job is to protect you as well. But right now, there's a man in there that is dead.
I stamp my foot. I can help too.
Unfortunately, that has yet to be seen. Your attempting to help just contaminated the crime scene further.
The Freya reaches out.
And
Puts a
you
hand.
failed to protect some of your own familiars in your own city.
The Freya puts a hand on Lee's shoulder and speaks in Sylvan. Calm yourself, darling. If they suspect that you might have done something, having an outburst is not going to help. And they are right. They are officers. They're investigating and doing their job. But you're not. And even if you hadn't done anything, everyone saw you touch his body. So for now, just let them handle it until we're able to prove that you're not part of it. I know you didn't do any of this.
Miss Osley, while I myself do not believe you to have any malicious intentions with what you did, I must go by protocol, and everyone in that room, or in this case, in the vicinity of the room, is a suspect. If they were actually nearing the end of their life and it was just unfortunate happenstance that it happened in the middle of the event, then we will know that once we can get him to a proper coroner. But until then, we must keep all of you detained in that room for your own safety. Am I making myself clear?
Or the nearby vicinity, Sheodora chimes in.
You're a special case.
Thank you.
Since you are unfamiliar with healing people, my magic took no hold. Nothing sort of changed on the body.
Make an
You
Arcana
still
check.
affected the body.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
I will do no such thing, as I will
I'll make an
pinch
Arcana
Lee
check.
and then cast Cure Wound.
My man's blowing a spell slot out of petty.
Charles.
What?
Charles, you don't.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you don't know divine magic at all, but that checks out.
I barely know.
You barely know you barely know warlock magic, but that checks out.
You can't heal a corpse, is what I'm saying.
That's up to the
Yeah,
DM.
no, and out of pure pettiness, Osric will pinch Lee and then cast Cure Wounds.
You take one non-lethal and then are cured, and the pain subsides.
I don't think I take any damage.
You take one non-lethal and then you are
Slap.
cured. Roll
I
your
slap
cure.
him.
Roll your cure. and then roll to slap him. Let's do it. PvP mode in the last 5 minutes of the game. Roll your cure.
Everybody will report for professionality training.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Right. So you overheal. Oswick, did you have mage armor on?
No mage armor.
What's your AC
but
at?
I'm 17.
Oh yeah, you don't even boop them with advantage.
Holy shit, Ozzy!
I'm an artificer. I start with scale mail.
My man.
Yeah. Once that happens, Charles steps in between them and pushes them both back.
I did not
All
give
right.
you permission to touch me.
You're correct. Oswick, don't do that again. It's out of protocol.
It's not really creating an NPC, but I think I'm gonna interpose because there is a redemption here. A hand catches Lee by the wrist as she's about to slap Oswick. It's not going to be Arissa because it's not thematically appropriate for this. But the Freya catches the arm and she says, "Do not strike an officer, darling. I would be remiss if I had to kill them to get you free of this circumstance." And this is still in Sylvan. She is not going to out loud say that she would murder the two of you.
I relax.
And she looks to Oswick and she says, "I find the conduct of assaulting a young princess very unbecoming of an officer. You would do well not to lay a hand on her without consent in the future. If I find that you do it again, I will keep the hand."
I do give another formal curtsy, like falling completely into court mode. I apologize for my outburst.
And the Inquisitor did say she would cut your hand off, so that was her openly threatening you after telling Lee not to threaten you.
Oswick will raise an eyebrow to her, but nod. I meant her no lasting damage, and I answered her outburst in the only way I thought she might understand.
Oswick, maybe Cypher needs help back in the...
Correct. You seem to have this under control.
Quite
I will bid you ladies adieu for now.
Quite a sensible assertion, officer. And she nods as Oswick bows himself out. And I think that's where the camera is going to fade out, with us only having a few minutes left in the game. And as the camera pans out, it kind of zooms out the window as like a paramedic vehicle and a few more Blue Cloak squad cars start to pull in. But we will pick up for the conclusion of the investigation next week, so long as everybody's here and I am not dying of insomnia. But I imagine we'll be fine because when we play this game, we all seem to have a great time, and life just hiccups Mondays a lot. I immediately hiccuped after saying that. But yeah, Rez, I will hold on to your redemption for a dramatically more appropriate time. Her just showing up in the middle of a dinner party, especially during a locked down investigation, doesn't quite work. But I'll bank that for later. I'm sure.
Oh God, that's gonna be.
I mean, technically that already happened with a picture reveal, but good thing Oswick wasn't completely unprofessional and didn't flash the picture as well, because that would have been a fun conversation.
Oh no, this is gonna be
Yeah,
I've been enjoying that.
Mm-hmm.
Charles is gonna tell Cypher what happened for sure.
Also, I have some interesting plot points that I'm waiting for investigators to bring up, but I'm not gonna be like, you missed this and you missed that and you missed this. I'm having
I'm
fun.
screaming internally.
I'm having fun adapting the investigation based on the questions you guys are asking, and this is one of those fun ones where it's like there's no wrong answers. It is very much a Clue movie where there are multiple endings. Anybody could be the murderer if you investigate hard enough, or nobody could be, or everybody could be. Maybe they all did it. Who knows? So far it seems like
they all did it.
So far, it seems like Lee is the killer. Is the best foregone conclusion.
She did touch the body.
She did touch the body. She didn't tell you guys that she whispered me she's casting Simulacrum after Time Stop, and basically she just swapped out the actual body with a dead clone body. So, you have no idea what the actual corpse looks like because that's a fake.
Yep, it's all true. I said all those things, and there's no reason why you should question it.
It'd be ice. No, it'd be water because it melts when it dies.
You don't know. You're not high enough level.
Yeah, not if you stabilized the dying body in the simulacrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been stable and making really convincing bluff checks this entire time.
we just use that spell that makes it look like they're dead for 10 days.
Yeah, that one. That checks out. I like that. Let's go with that one.
After 10 days, they're just going to wake up and walk
when
out.
the coroner cuts them up.
Yeah. They immediately wake up halfway through having their organs removed. But yeah, it's
the coroner just finishes anyway.
Yep. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole awkward thing. But hey, this was fun. I had a lot
of fun.
There was a lot of world building, a lot of history implications. Fuck Brady,
and
of course.
Some social drama.
And some social drama.
So much internal screaming.
Why is it always
sad,
vampires?
I'm sad nobody asked who the incompetent general was, but I think we all know.
The incompetent what?
General.
Oh.
Because I didn't want you to have to bring it up and make someone feel bad.
I mean, if you did bring it up, you might have learned some actual information, but hey, I like leaving the implications in the air.
I have no idea what we're talking about at the moment.
It has nothing to do with what Lee was investigating, so she wouldn't know either. Anyhoodle, that's the end. Keavah, plug yourself so that you can get some more arts, because we love you and we want you to get arts.
Sure. Hi, I'm Keavah. I am a professional illustrator and character artist. You can find a lot of my examples of my work in many Party Wipe gaming games through token art. You can also find me on Twitter at Farachi Does Art, all one word. My commissions are open, and I'm more than happy to talk with anyone if anybody has any need of anything, big or small. Feel free to look me up.
Woo. Anybody else have anything fun to plug?
Hi, I'm Shay. I am at Jim Shay on Twitter. I do art stuffs too. I've done characters, did a map, did a couple of things. That's me. I'm also here on on Party Wipe Gaming. 6 out of 7 of the games, I think.
Yep. More or less. No, you would be. No, you are 6 out of 7 because you're in Misspent Youth now too.
Yeah, I'm not here on Thursday.
Nope. Which I really hope becomes a Zweihander game because I want a random table.
I'm Mark. You can usually catch me here on Party Wipe Games for 3 of the 7 games. Yeah. And you can catch me on Sundays around 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Vampire the Masquerade Fleeting Bond, which is a game run by our friend Spoiled Chestnut.
Yeah. Well, guys, fantastic game. I had a blast. I'm glad I didn't be like, I'm too tired for this. Let's not play, because this was fun.
We'll see how it is.
It was fun. And
I'm putting a +10 permanent modifier to all of Cypher's skill rolls so that they can be more than Inspector Gadget.
I mean, you know.
I'll take it.
I worked very hard.
I know, and it, like, oh, that sucks so much that it kept happening. It really
It's very
did.
unfortunate.
Oh God, I just saw that GIF you put in there. Ah, the face one. Ugh.
Yeah.
Also, Keavah, no hard feelings for how Lee acts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Roleplay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Roleplay. It's roleplay.
Charles
And-
definitely doesn't want to see Lee hurt.
And
even
nothing
through pinches.
intended for how Oswick acts.
It's fine. We'll be
I take that one very personally, Morph.
Nope.
Nah,
I take nothing
I
personally
like
because
Oswick.
I don't have personality.
I like reprimanded.
Everybody is going to sensitivity training.
What?
I think Charles did very well overall.
Charles, you did do well.
Charles is a
He's
good
a
boy.
good boy.
Yeah. Charles followed orders and did very nice.
Ozzy is suspicious to elves. Ozzy is always suspicious to elves.
That's fine.
It's
Okay,
okay.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great. You know, it's not like I can get angry. I don't feel emotions, so it's fine.
Gotta teach the robot to love.
Gotta teach the robot to discipline properly.
Oh, I know how to do that. I've read many books.
That's fair.
Discipline, torture, disembowelment.
Hopefully those don't get mixed up.
And then
I-
when someone dies, you can be like, why did I learn to love? It hurts so much.
It's fine. It'll be fine. Are we done? Is it over?
We're done.
Now
It's
are we done,
over.
Red?
Good night, guys. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Night. Love you.